I'm just starting to explore the possibilities of changing career, but I'm not quite sure where to go from here. I know I want something different, but the thought of making a change is both exciting and terrifying. Sound familiar? If you're in your 50s and feeling stuck in your career, unsure of your next steps, then this episode is just for you. You're listening to This Woman Can. I'm your host, Janice Sutherland, where I help mature professional black women take charge of their careers and lives to create a future on their terms. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of This Woman Can. I am back in the hot seat. I'm your host, Janice Sutherland, career and life strategist for the mature black woman. And this is the spot where we have real conversations about the maturing black woman's professional journey. And today I am touching on a topic that quite recently I've received a lot of questions about, that I know it resonates with so many of us. Reimagining your career beyond the traditional corporate ladder. Now, you know that nagging feeling, the one that whispers very gently in your ear, there's something more. Even though you've checked all the traditional success boxes, the car, the house, the job, everything. Well, today's episode is for you, especially if you're a professional black woman who's built an impressive career but feels ready for a new chapter. Now, let me share something personal, especially as it's coming up to my birthday. It's that time of year again. Almost 7 years ago, around this time, I was sitting in my corner office, staring at my business card that said Janice Sutherland, Chief Executive Officer, and absolutely feeling empty, totally empty. On paper, I had everything, the salary, the title, the respect, but something was missing. I remember the exact moment it hit me. I was in yet another strategic planning session, and instead of feeling engaged, I kept thinking about a junior executive I'd mentored a number of years ago who had launched her own business. She was terrified at the time of doing that, but alive with possibility. And there I was in a great job, secure, but stagnant. And just thinking about that moment, reviewing that and thinking about that situation led me down a path that completely transformed how I think about career success after 50. And that's exactly what we're exploring today. So let me start by shattering some of those myths. You've probably heard or even told yourself some of these. I'm too old to start over. No one hires women my age. I can't afford to make changes now. Aren't I wasting all the years I've put into the organisation? But here's what's fascinating. Research shows that 82% of professionals who make career transitions after 45, report higher job satisfaction. And here's the kicker. 64% report higher income within 2 years. Why? Let me tell you why. Because we've been thinking about it all wrong. This isn't about starting over. This isn't about starting from scratch. It's about leveraging everything you've built because you're starting from experience. Let me give you an example. A few weeks ago, I spoke with Maria, who was a former banking executive, but now runs a thriving financial advisory firm. She told me something that absolutely resonated with me. That was just fabulous. She said, I didn't leave banking. I took banking with me. So this is what brings me to what I call your wisdom capital. It's the currency that only comes with experience. And it's far more valuable than you might realize it. Think about it. What do you know so well that you don't even realize you know? You keep doing it just naturally. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. That's your wisdom capital. And it includes a variety of things. It includes one, pattern recognition. You can spot trends and potential issues before they surface because you've seen it before. It's almost like your second sight. There's professional judgment. That gut feeling that tells you when something isn't quite right. That's decades of experience talking to you. There's your problem solving expertise. You don't just solve problems, you prevent them because of that second sight, you saw them coming. And lastly, relationship intelligence. You know how to navigate complex professional relationships because you've built and maintained them for years. Those awkward people who people ask you, how do you get her to do that for you? She'd never do that for me. It's because you've built that relationship. You know what their buttons are, you know what to press, you know how to get them to do something for you. This isn't theoretical. These are marketable skills that companies and clients desperately need. So, how do we translate this into action? Well, I'm going to give you something different this week. I'm going to give you some work to do. I'm going to share 3 practical steps that have worked for numerous women that I've worked with. The first one is the reality audit. So, if you're somewhere safe, you're not listening to your car while you're driving, I want you to take out a piece of paper right now, if you can, and answer these questions. What problems do people consistently come to you for? What do you make look easy that others find challenging? And what energizes you most about your current role? So that's your reality audit. Step 2, your networking reimagination. It's not about collecting LinkedIn connections. It's about reimagining your existing relationship. Think about that former colleague who's now a CEO. They're not just a lunch date, they're a potential gateway to what your next role could be, your next chapter, your next phase. And step 3, the pilot program. Before making any major changes, create what I call a pilot program for your next chapter. This might mean taking on a side project, mentoring in your area of interest, or testing your ideas in a low risk way. So those are my three things for you to consider. And before we wrap up, I want to talk about some immediate action steps. Here's what I want you to do this week. First is complete your wisdom inventory. List every major challenge you've overcome in your career. These aren't just war stories, they're evidence of your capabilities, your capacities, your abilities. Let me get that word out. Secondly, identify your energy patterns. Track when you feel most energized, engaged at work. This is your compass that will point you to some future directions, what really makes you get out of bed. And then third, make one bold move. Reach out to someone who's doing something that interests you, not for a job, just for a conversation to find out more. And if this episode resonated with you, you may want to attend my webinar coming up on the 31st of October, Beyond the Corporate Ladder, Reimagining Your Career for the Future You. We'll dive deeper into everything I've discussed today, and you'll leave with a practical roadmap for your next chapter. So just head over to my website, www.janicesutherland.com, to reserve your spot. And even if you aren't able to attend on the day, just sign up and I'll send you the recording as well. Remember, your experience isn't your limitation, it's your superpower. Your age isn't your obstacle, it's your advantage. So keep on doing you, and always remember, if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care until next time. Thanks for listening. If you got something from this week's episode, please let me know. Better yet, share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone you know who can benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe or write a review and connect with me at my website, janicesutherland.com, where you can also subscribe to the This Woman Can newsletter or connect with me on LinkedIn. Remember, you have the wisdom, resilience, authenticity, and power to create a life on your terms. And if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care until next time.